morning, welcome back, good to see everyone. Hopefully you all are enjoying this heat and surviving the heat well. And it's good to see you all. So I understand we have 4 articles today, and you have 2 for the initial round. Just a heads up, attendance-wise today, you'll notice we are lacking a few people. Mike and Brian will not be able to join us in person today. Susan will be with us in the afternoon, and Paul is here, but he'll be joining us shortly. So he'll be here probably within the first half hour to hour of our time together. And I understand Justice may be joining us at some point today.
Okay, thank you. Our team is short a little bit today too. Dom will be arriving here in a little bit, and then SMBK will not be joining us.
Thank you. Preference on who would like to present first?
Yes, you guys.
All right, we will start with Article 11.
I'm sitting on the wrong side of him, so it really threw me off. Would you help me out with the camera?
I did. I noticed nobody took this interesting black table over here. It seemed very ceremonial.
I think this is a different table. We're trying to make it look fancier because it's all plastic table. It's not a nice wood table.
All right, everybody has a copy, hopefully. So hopefully this one will be fairly quick and easy. But so starting with really the 2 changes that you notice is under A. We heard you on including into the contract who is considered who are considered in these things. And so what we've done is taken away what you had proposed and just tried to make a little bit more concise version of that. So it still includes all of the same people. Just trying to make it a little bit shorter. So that's part A. And then under G, that's another one where we have adjusted our verbiage to meet yours, to match yours, which is to say that the sick compensation time would be paid retroactively to the date filed with PLO. So those are really the 2 changes. Any questions?
You guys can spread out like that table. It is available if you want to spread out a little bit.
We like each other.
Yeah, this looks condensed over there. Okay. All right.
I think we're okay for questions right now. We might have one later.
Okay. Our next 3 are 8, 17, and 18, and we're presenting these 3 as a package. We took a very close look at all 3 of these articles, and really with the effort of closely listening and making some forward momentum with these, and recognize that there's some factors that are linked in these regarding finances, and so we're presenting 8, 17, and 18 as a package. I believe what we'll see when we look at these together is there's a couple things that we're kind of holding the line with. There's a larger number of things that we are hoping to meet in the middle with, and then several things as well that we are accepting the language that you're proposing. So I'll walk us through these copy, 8, 17, and 18. Get comfortable.
Yes, but we're looking at that already in this. Same time as that.
Okay, got it.
No,
All right, starting with Article 8, I'm just going to go through the areas that are changes or highlights that you'll see in this. Starting with the title, we lovingly said maybe we should just call this the kitchen sink article because there's so much in this article, but decided maybe work hours and pay rates is a little more concise to reflect hopefully all the topics in here and provide a little bit greater clarity. So first change that you'll see there is just a title change for the article. In section A, what you'll see as you look through section A is the you had language proposed around exempt employees not working or being required to work or take vacation time over winter break. And we did not accept that language. And that'll be a theme that you'll see throughout this, is that exempt employees are expected, as all employees throughout the district, to work their full calendar. You'll recall that previously we did accept language around having to work on a holiday, and so we did bring forward your proposed language around holiday pay and extra compensation for exempt employees around holidays. But specifically for winter break, we did not carry forward the proposed language as it is a paid day, and exempt employees, as all employees are required to work on the days that are indicated as paid days on our calendar. Moving forward, I referenced F as well, the exempt employees. This is our previous give around the mention of the holidays. I believe we are consistent already in C and D and E. F, we agreed to a previous change. Moving to G, we have accepted your last proposal of the essential crew list being identified no later than October 15th, which you'll see in G1A. We were previously on November 15th for that date, so we accepted your last proposed language on that. G1C, we did not carry forward the language here that was proposed around those who are working remote during an emergency closure being eligible for the extra compensation. Really, the extra compensation is intended to recognize that for those who are traveling into a site, they're experiencing a potential hazard in doing so if there's road closure or bad weather. And so for those who are remote and working at home, they're not experiencing the similar level of potential hazard. And so we did not move forward with the language around those working remote are eligible for that hazard pay, if you will. We also in G did not accept the language around the 2-hour minimum shift. Operationally, that creates some challenges. We have positions in the district, namely crossing guards, that are by their nature less than 2 hours. And so we're not able to functionally guarantee that all positions or all shifts will be minimum of 2 hours when the operational need of some positions, again, such as crossing guards, really necessitate shifts shorter than a 2-hour minimum there. And we did also not accept the proposed language that you had in H2A. We are standing by that the district has a right to adjust a schedule with advance notice. This is something that, again, if there's conferences or other events that may necessitate a change in schedule, the district reserves the right to be able to make those adjustments and still recognize that these are impacting people's personal lives and their personal schedule. So advance notice is provided in those situations. I believe we are the same then with flex and comp time, bringing us to the callback chart. You'll see in the callback charts that there's some, again, some wording changes that we placed in the attempt to have greater clarity. As we know, this is, no matter how clear we think it is, when we have that first snow day, we encounter some opportunities for greater clarity. And so this is our attempt to make it as clear as possible up front, recognizing the intricacies of the pay and then getting into double pay during a paid holiday or a closure. We did accept the language presented under paid holiday or unscheduled closure regarding the exempt employee here. If they are required to report in person specifically, so not working remote, but acknowledging again that there's a hazard potential exposure when traveling during adverse weather or a snow day. So exempt employees, we heard you on that, and we've accepted your language there to include them. The next section I want to bring attention to is K, mileage. We heard you on the mileage. I think the situation shared is really particularly around paraeducators who may be having to travel outside of the district to support a student who may reside outside of the district. And want to recognize that that does bring an additional cost and time commitment from them for those individuals. So this is one where I feel we kind of met in the middle. We are accepting of the concept that the mileage should include that distance outside of the district for those individuals traveling. However, those individuals, as all of us, are required still to get to our primary work locations. And so our proposal here is that the mileage reimbursement is based upon their primary work location. So if they're, say, assigned here to Tumwater, they're still responsible to get here to Tumwater. And if they're supporting a student out in Hillsborough, the factor comes into place based on their original primary work location. So you'll see that change for K. Again, we think that this honors the intent of your last proposal, while also keeping it consistent with the mileage reimbursement expectations for all employees. In L, working out of classification, we did not carry forward the language you presented last about the 4 hours being within a particular time period. We are maintaining the current contract language that it's 4 hours, really intentionally consecutive hours. The reason for that is it's intended to be kind of an in-depth look or opportunity in the additional position that one may be working in. And so recognizing that if it's a 20-minute or 30-minute service in a different position that's not experiencing the same level of complexity that is associated with the additional position as would be experienced if they're spending an extended period of time, which we previously defined as 4 hours. They're getting much more into the intricacies of the work, if you will, at that point.
I do have a question about that. Is what then would we propose in buildings where staff are being put into other positions for 3 hours and 45 minutes in a day to do a completely different job than their own because it's vacant and it's intentional that they're being placed in there exactly at a 15-minute increment before being out of class on a regular basis. So it's 3 to 5 days a week sometimes where they are doing 3 hours and 45 minutes a day of a completely different other job. And I think most of us know we're all pretty happy to cover and help out our teammate, help out our building when we need to, but at what point then what do we do? Because that's where a lot of our feedback is coming back on this from our members is how many of them are being tasked right under that 4 hour guideline or or admin kind of really playing with their perspective on what that can be. So that, I'm just asking because our members are gonna ask me, so.
Yeah, Christine, I appreciate that scenario there, and definitely, open to some counter language on this one, but my first thought is that something that I think that we would have an opportunity to collaborate on through labor management meetings, specifically that is an ongoing pattern. I understand if it's a one-time and the nature of the work truly is 3 hours and 45 minutes, that is what it is. But if it's daily and there's a concern that it may be intentionally scheduled for 15 minutes shy of this intentionally, then I would welcome conversations around that with labor management so that we could look at the nuances of those particular situations.
Okay, thank you.
I was gonna say that there's similar situations that have actually come up where I've had to work with Curtis on that, where I've had a classified employee who's being asked to regularly do something outside of their job, but job scope on a regular basis. And Curtis has been really great to go to and say, hey, this, at the school, they're asking them to do this. And Curtis has just reached out and said, hey, FYI, that can't continue. And that's worked really well. So I think Curtis has been good with it.
And he is really good at it, but you have to remember, I oversee over 2,000 employees, so the reality of the inbox of that, and having to call Curtis for all 2,000 of those employees, or for the potentially sometimes 300 of them in a 6-month period that might happen to. I'm just trying to also, that's why we're trying to streamline it to some language, but thank you, that's helpful for us to think about counter language.
Thank you. All right, and summer break work, M, I think this is the final area where we have some, we're not in agreement yet on, is the summer break work. We are maintaining the existing and current practice of the summer rate will be established by the district. You proposed language last time about including the employee's experience level for summer break work, and what we have found is that establishing the summer rates really competitively allows the district to hire for the positions. If we're unsuccessful in hiring, say, for nutrition services or any of the summer positions, then that might be an indication that the summer rate pay needs to be adjusted so that we're able to attract the people that we want for those positions. But we really want to maintain the district ability to establish that rate consistently for all of those who are performing in the positions over summer. Also recognizing that the summer rate of pay is really outside of the regular contract and something that we feel shouldn't be in this contract extensively anyhow. And so we want to maintain the current language around them. All right, questions on 8?
We'll probably have to come back with some more questions so we can read a little more thorough.
Excellent, thank you. All right, and as I said, we're packaging 8 with 17 and 18. Thankfully, 17 and 18 are a little shorter. So 17, the only area I believe that we had some discrepancy between our last proposals on is 17B. I believe we're in alignment with A. And so in 17B, we heard you as far as your last request was that the vacation carryover this week would occur after 18 months. And currently, our classified staff are the only ones in the district that experience that 18-month sweep. All other populations administrators do it annually, but they're able to carry forward a balance for a full year. And so the proposal that we have here is to align the use of the carryover to what we experience with our administrators and other employee groups so that we have consistency. And really, this is frankly even a more generous amount of time to use vacation than even the 18 months. And so with the proposal that we have here is that an individual can carry forward their full annual allotment for a full year. And so that gives them really up to 24 months to use their vacation allotment before it's swept. So even more aggressive or more generous than the 18-month proposal. So we feel that this is one that benefits all classified staff or who receive vacation and also provides greater consistency amongst employee groups throughout the district.
I do have a question. I hear you and I definitely see where points of that, but I also wonder in the idea of aligning with the way that administrators get to use their vacation. Do administration see the same, trying to think of the right word to put, constraint on how many people in a department can take days off at the same time? So some of our staff in departments that take vacation are limited to only 8 of 300 people able to take that day's vacation. So like the fight over hunting season and fishing season can be really tricky. Someone goes hunting at the same time. Does admin have the same restriction on how many people in a department or at a district office can take vacation at the same time?
And I can speak from just my personal experience on this. It is similar expectations in that a supervisor approves the use of vacation time. And so it is really based on the department needs, the operational needs of the department. I will say in my role, like I need to work with my counterparts, Janine and Erica and Alfonso, and we stagger our vacations so that we're not all out at the same time. And so there is an intentionality about making sure that there's a continuity of services at the administrative level as well.
Okay, thank you. Just as we're aligning, staff are going 1 to 2, all points of that are aligned. So thank you.
Yeah, yep. We try to avoid everybody being out at once. Any questions on 17? All right, and that brings us to 18, uniforms and supplies. And we feel that both 17 and 18 are significant moves towards agreements, and we really want to make sure that those areas are highlighted throughout this. So in 18, I'll start with A. We hear you regarding the request for personal protective equipment. We've mostly accepted the proposed language here, but we included that the district will consider requests to provide additional PPE. We think we certainly want our staff to be safe and have access to the PPE that may be necessary for a position, but then also recognize that there may be some PPE that may be more of a preference or not really required or essential for the role. And so we want to support staff in accessing the PPE that they may need, but then also keep a degree of reasonableness as far as approving those requests, so not just an open-ended PPE request approval. You'll see as we dive down into C, we've accepted your proposals regarding the shoe allowance of increasing that to $125 for nutrition service staff. So recognizing the increase in costs there. And we've also accepted the $125 allowance for mechanics. The language that was originally proposed for the C3 we felt was overly broad. It was written as maintenance and facility staff, which can include office assistants, and there's so many titles under those umbrellas. And so we believe this was the intention, was to have it specific to these individuals. So we are accepting the language regarding the $125 footwear allowance for mechanics and auto service personnel. I believe we're in alignment with the rest of C. That'll bring us to D, mechanic tools. This is also one that, hearing the request for a stipend for those who are required to purchase their tools that are in a mechanic position, in discussing with the departments that these positions are housed in, to kind of get a baseline, what I've learned from both transportation and maintenance and custodial is that a set of tools that have a lifetime warranty that is required for the positions can be bought for around $300 to $350 currently. And those, again, have a lifetime warranty associated with those particular tools. Also recognizing that some positions may require a specialty tool, and the district will provide those specialty tools or work with the individual as necessary to obtain those. So we are accepting the proposal around a stipend for the mechanics, but this is a one-time stipend. Again, as these tools also, as it ideally have a lifetime warranty, and there's existing language in here about if the tool is damaged or lost, about how that is replaced. We don't feel that an annual purchase of the tools is necessary, but rather recognizing the upfront cost that is incurred for these positions. We're accepting the proposal in concept of the stipend for the mechanics.
Just want to clarify, do we mean stipend or reimbursement?
I'm sorry, it is a reimbursement.
No, that's what I was reading, and we were just wanting to clarify. Because we went back and forth over what that would look like, stipend versus reimbursement, obviously. Look different.
Agreed, yeah, this is intended to be a reimbursement. In your proposal, you've also included a language around a requirement to mark all the tools in possession. That's just operationally not feasible. The district has probably thousands of tools, wrenches, and sockets, and to be able to go through and label all of those is insurmountable, but recognizing that if people are purchasing their own, they're certainly welcome to label that with their initials or however they see fit.
I'm actually double checking because I could be wrong, but I thought that was already in the original contract. Alright, just kidding.
Are you saying in your proposal, D2 is labeled as new language, all tools, personal, otherwise will be clearly marked?
I was mixed up in my notes, it's like, never mind.
I'm certainly open to, people bring in their own tools, certainly welcome to, label those as would be helpful for them but again, our ability to label every tool in the district would just, it'd be a promise that we wouldn't be able to fulfill because there's so many everywhere. And then D3, maintaining if there's a damaged tool or it's lost above $100, that would continue to go through risk management for potential reimbursement or replacement of the tool there. So that's kind of our marathon run through these 3 articles. Again, Phil, we made some significant move towards accepting and hearing the last proposals that we've received. But are there any questions around these?
I think we asked our immediate questions. I think we'd like to take a short caucus to discuss these, probably meet back at 11, and then we'll be able to present our other articles, and then potentially a response to at least one of these.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We get one, well, 3 extra. Yes.
Thank you.
Gabby, we get 3 extra. Yes.
We can come up there. All right, friends. By no means are we meant to be a package deal, just wanted to pass them out at the same time, make them quick. I'm gonna pass the mic over to Tammy, to look at Article 13.
There are not huge substantive changes to 13. If you look at B1, we have included Paving Oregon or PLO, and you'll see us using that throughout for consistency, both within this article and in other parts of the contract. On C1, we have adopted the BSD language. C2, we added or called out that state and federal family medical leave laws. D3 is just cleaning up language. And D4, again, the reference to Paving Oregon. F. F1F. Oh, thank you. We continue to feel that it is important to call out individuals related by blood or affinity whose close association with a covered individual is the equivalent of a family language or a family relationship, and that language does come from state law.
Do you guys have any questions?
I don't believe so at this time.
Okay, sounds good. Then we're gonna go on to 14.
Okay, so 14, we really didn't make any changes except in B3. We went back to our proposed language of a minimum of 3 unlicensed staff members to be trained. And I think one of the reasons that we're really pushing for this is because of the day-to-day logistics within a building. So in my building, for example, we don't have a regular health assistant there regularly. We have 2 office people, and so if, for example, one of us is trained, or even both of us are trained, but one of us is on lunch, that leaves the other one to cover absolutely everything in the office. And if they're the only person that is trained to deal with this specific health problem with a student and they're not available to, it would be really helpful to have at least 1 or 2 other people in the building that could step in and help when needed. And I know that's the case in a lot of different buildings.
And I think the reality is too, that our health assistants and our nurses also are traveling to share so many buildings. So they're often considered one of the licensed people on record. So we recognize that there are more people often licensed that are trained, but there are also ones that travel and aren't in the school. And so again, thinking about medical emergencies and the increase of kids on insulin pumps, things like that are obviously detrimental to their experience to attend schools and to be safe and secure. So just having more of those people available to make sure our students are safe. And then help obviously our staff be able to feel confident that they can keep all the kids safe, that they are tasked to keep safe in the building. All right, and then we have Article 11 for you, the cabinet proposal for you. That's what took us a little extra long. We're trying to keep things flowing. Yes, I don't know.
Hello?
All right, so for us, we only move forward with continuing going back to crossing out the OAR and then taking out the word domestic out of the partnership in A. Otherwise, those are the only changes that we would. We just continue to stand with the idea that we think that we're meeting in the middle and covering a lot of pieces in the family, but also want to recognize that as things continue to change from the federal level, that we are still keeping things that are true and legal in our contract that protect the equity and the standards that we believe in the Beaverton School District to keep our community whole and safe as well.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Kirsty, on that, there's the first domestic partner is crossed out domestic, but the second one in the line below it is left to less domestic. Did you intend to cross it out?
Yeah, that was an error on my part. Thank you.
All right, yeah, any questions, team? Thank you.
I do want to say before we break, our intent today, as our team is, we feel like we are pretty confident in how close we are. And so we just want to call out earlier that, again, if we get to a point where we are really working close to 4 o'clock, we will have to keep pushing forward. We feel confident that we're close. So our team would just like to call that out earlier in the day, that we would really like to push through and see where we can get this today.
Excellent, thank you, we appreciate that, and we similarly agree. I think we're getting close to that finish line, so let's keep going.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Sounds good.
So, thank you, we'll take some time, it's, what, 11:23 now, maybe check in around 12:30.
Yep, sounds good.
Great, thanks everyone. This is, oh, there we go.
Mine's working.
I should just not touch it. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hello, welcome back.
I'm glad it's not just me.
I just learned a trick to push the button one time and you don't touch it and tap it and it works.
You just throw this. Oh, there you go. How many people turn on the mic? Hi, friends. Welcome back. We have responses on 11, 13, and 14 that we could dive into, or would you all like to go first? Or? All right.
Oh, go ahead.
Then let's start. We'll start with 11. We'll probably just pass one on. Thank you very much.
Not only are you faster, you're smarter.
Now.
All right, so starting with 11, hopefully this one is a quick and easy one. We basically picked up the change that you proposed to just remove domestic from partner. So everything else we were already on the same page with. And so there's just a cleanup of that sentence as well. Immediate family we crossed out is defined since we're no longer referencing that law. Any questions on that?
No questions, thank you.
All right, and on 13, we are kind of trying to meet in the middle when it comes to 13F. I think is our last area of difference on this one. Recognizing the concern regarding the affiliation, but as the bereavement leave mentioned in F is 3 additional days. We didn't accept the proposed language around affiliation. However, we're trying to meet in the middle with this one, and so we added what you see as F3. That's employees may use PTO, vacation, or sick for the death of an individual not listed above. So to broaden those categories to be able to use essentially for the death of somebody whom there's an affiliation for. Affiliated, sorry. Thank you. Questions on 13?
No, thank you, at this time.
Here it is.
See how many people can touch it without pulling off.
Thank you. Just wanted to add that this now aligns with what is in the BEA contract after our most recent negotiations with BEA, so the OSEA and BEA would not be aligned.
Thank you for that.
All right, on 14, one area trying to pull together both language on B3. So having the guidance where feasible of at least 3 staff members being trained. Just knowing that it can be very case-by-case site-specific, but having that additional, those additional individuals who may or may not be licensed or unlicensed. And then following through, and then not bringing forward the language on 5, so retaining our original proposal in that. So that was all on 14.
Awesome, thank you. We're gonna take a few minutes again. Unless you have something else for us.
That's it for now.
Awesome, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It is very
It is
nice.
nice in here.
I see what's going on.
You're welcome to stay.
Yeah, pretty much. No, there was a big gap between the stage and
It
the,
usually always has to be.
yeah. So he jumped off and fell. We thought he was gonna break a hip. I'm like, hold on, somebody's gotta get up there and catch him.
Thank you.
All right, so what you'll see here, the review is there's good work done, and we brought all of the proposals here in one, to make it easy. I listed out in Article 8 where we have some changes that we'll go through, but I just relist out the sections, so we can easily keep track of this way in the process. And then we wanting to go through with accepting your proposals for Article 11, 13, 14, 17, and then we have a couple of promotions on Article 18 as well. We will go through those, but just have the sheet help make it keep going. So then in your proposal package, we have our changes for Article 8 and our changes for Article 18 in here.
I like the organizer, that's really helpful.
Sorry, give me just a second. Sorry, give me a second. I've got to catch up. I have to organize.
Okay, we're gonna start with the first change, Article 8, Section E2. We reverted back to just original contract language that had been struck out. We feel that this just makes sense to have in and keep original language. Let's go in here, and then F5. We are willing to find balance with you and give you that one. 8G, B, here we go. We just made a quick change to the callback chart. The section number was referred incorrectly in the previous one, so we changed it to I.2 instead of I.5. 8H, 3, 3D. We just changed comp time to compensatory time to be consistent with wording throughout. The following one, yes, I'll do one more. The following one, 8H2B, we went ahead and changed that back to original contract language.
I did want to call out on E2, the reason that we keep going back to that original language is because we feel it's very important for nutritional services and custodial. I know working in the largest elementary in the district, we are larger than several of our middle schools, but if our custodial foreman or our NS foreman goes to a middle school, that is the pay raise for them with fewer lunches and fewer students, fewer total meals served. So it's one of those situations where you could move to a different position if you were to move from middle school to elementary. it is lower on the pay scale, and that's why we're have been so consistent with leaving E2 in, because it is the same job title, but it can result in a change in salary placement depending on whether it's elementary, middle school, or high school.
And just to save confusion on 8F5, when you look at the packet, there isn't a 5. We struck that out, so just if you're confused by that, that's why.
Thank you.
The article formerly known as 8F5.
Yes.
Yes, so that was G1B, we just fixed the reference to make it correct to the callback chart. I believe that takes us to I2, if I am in the same place everyone else is. We accept the language in the callback chart. And K3B, we are accepting your language there. L, we're trying to come to a compromise here. There had been language about the current pay period, which you struck out. We have replaced that with during that work week, which we hope meets the needs of both sides of the table. And then M, summer break work. We, again, are trying to meet in the middle. It is, this is a big deal to our members. I know many people at the table have been impacted by this, and it's simply fair and just and reasonable that folks should be compensated for their work experience when they accept summer work. Understanding that it is extra work, but our experience should still be considered, and we have called out specifically that it is BSD work experience, and we hope that moves us a little closer together.
We know that even with our helpful notes, the big one, up to us if you have questions. And then Diana will go over our promotions for our plate. She's almost ready. I jumped the gun a little fast for her.
Okay, so we are good with A, B, and D at this point in time. It was in C3 specifically that we need to figure out, this was not intended specifically just for the mechanics and auto service personnel. This was specifically put in place to go towards our trades members and facilities folks that we tried every which way to write this up to include all of the correct people, but we're talking electricians, plumbers, carpentry, painters, roofers, couriers, HVAC, lock shop, grounds, and project coordinators. We're not including any of the people that do the secretarial type work, the business office type work in those departments, maintenance or transportation. But that would also include the mechanics for the transportation department. So in the numbers that we came up with, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about 70 staff members. So there's approximately 53 in the maintenance department that were qualified, and then facilities, and then those mechanics in the transportation department. I had actually spoken with Ron and asked him what he thought, and he basically said, it's the guys that have the boots on the ground. The guys are going out to the buildings, they're stepping into construction sites, they're dealing with the different items like that. I don't know how to write that up appropriately, and obviously you guys didn't either, which is why the facilities and maintenance part got dropped, but that's who it is that this was intended for.
So we would definitely be open to some language if you guys could help find a way to include those people, but that is our intent for our people out on the ground, out doing the, boots on the ground work, that are working outside year round, and in construction code building and the areas and those old buildings, so often those are in those walls. Those kind of things, so we could, we'd be open to language if you guys could maybe help us condense those into some language or have a thought you might want to bring back.
Team, any questions? I'm noticing at the top, this is packaged with everything remaining, it seems like. Yep, okay. All right, well, thank you all for that tremendous lift. We will spend some time reviewing and discussing, and we'll get back together.
And I can share the front page with you guys if you guys would like to just keep making edits there, so hopefully we don't have to keep printing. We're seeing more paper and we get, as we go through these pieces, that would be a little easier.
That'd be great, thank you.
I went into Elkhart, so we'll serve someone better.
Load. Right, so we get a load and a couple reams of paper.
I want to share the editor now.
Yeah.
Heads up, I don't know.
Put them up here.
Starting on the 14th.
But she was coming from Minville?
Yes, yeah.
I just sort of remember what her put out.
Yes, she's come from Minville already, and she had to hire her replacement. She had to hire a superintendent before she could get away, so she got away a little later. She won't start until the middle of the month this month.
Did you stick up?
I'm sticking around for a little while.
But this is your last target, that's exciting.
I don't know, maybe she'll look at her face, she's like little.
All right, so everyone, welcome back. We appreciate your sheets, the organization sheet, so we have one as well. And I'll start by handing that out and you can pass on the article. Thank you.
You place like one or two
I'm so
things.
sorry.
I think I forgot. Both sides. Right? Good job. Just your impressive, you finally learned it's clear.
All right, looks like everybody has a copy. It is nice to see this shrinking a bit, so appreciate the visual on that. Starting with 8, you'll notice there are 3 items left on the list that you have in front of you now. So everything that was on your list prior We are in mutual agreement with that as well. So I do want to just highlight 8E2, which isn't on our list. We agreed to your prior proposal about maintaining the existing contract language. But just want to make sure that we have a common understanding of what that looks like. So the language is really when an employee is placed in their same job title for any transfer, that they maintain their current salary placement. And that really is our current operating practice. If there is, say, a NS1 or NS2 that changes levels, we wouldn't force somebody to change from their existing title to another one. So we wouldn't move an NS2 to an NS1 or even a 1 to a 2 without them applying for that position. Same for custodian, we wouldn't move a custodial 2 to a 3 or reverse of that without them going through the application process. So just want to make sure that we have that same understanding of 8E2, that it aligns with both current language and practice. Moving on to 8H2.
So Curtis, that was 8E2 in their proposal, but it's.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong.
It is, they numbered that paragraph too, and we did not. So it didn't, no, we picked up that change, not opposed to it, but, the number 2 for us is the second paragraph of one. In our vernacular.
Appreciate it, yeah, thank you. That was a lapse there from it. Okay, moving on to 8H2B. In your proposal, this is on here, you mentioned going back to current contract language. We are in agreement with going back to current contract language. Yours struck out supervisors from the current contract language, so we are just unstriking that, so now it is in its entirety the current contract language for 8H2B. L is the next area. Working out of class. We had a lot of discussion around working out of class and what are the nuances and how is it, what's the intention around the working out of class pay and what's the really the impact for our current application of this. And the intention, as I understand from when this originally was bargained, is that it's intended to compensate individuals who are performing the depth and complexity of a position outside of their existing position, which is why the language is in there around 4 hours. You know, if it's maybe an hour, it may not be really getting to the depth and complexity of the additional position that they're assuming. And so we really want to honor that. Our concern with saying over a work week is that could look like 4 or 5 individual days of maybe an hour or 45 minutes per day, which really may not lend itself to the depth and complexity of the task for which they are assuming. So we did counter with language that we do feel honors the intention and also is beneficial to employees who are serving in these capacities currently. And so our current use of this is that an individual is only eligible for the additional $4 per hour for the 4th hour and beyond that they're serving in that role. The language that you have in here brings it back to hour 1. And so if somebody works an 8-hour shift in a position outside of their own classification, they would be eligible for out-of-class pay for those full 8 hours in that role. And so kind of recognizing that 8-hour shift, during that time they would perform the full depth and complexity of the role. And so we didn't take forward the time period of a week, but we are including those initial 4 hours, which we know will be beneficial to those who are serving in the role to really compensate them for the work that they're doing in that time. You'll also see that we struck the other than covering for lunches or breaks. I'm not aware of any position to have a 4-hour lunch, so we felt that wasn't really necessary. And if there is a position like that, then I might be interested. So that's what you'll see in L and then M. We hear you around the opportunity to have the summer break work reflective of, inclusive of background experience and knowledge. And so we included kind of a middle language around this. And so you'll see that summer rates may be tiered based on relevant experience. And so that may look a little different by departments. Nutrition services may have, for example, 3 tiers, transportation may have 4 tiers, but a tiered system that could capture relevant experience. Or it may be nutrition services says like, hey, we are going with 1 tier, that's the top tier. We're paying everybody consistently at this highest rate. So it's still providing some flexibility for the departments to kind of measure the demand for the positions, and also recognizing that those who bring prior experience also give a different level of expertise in the role that they're serving, even over summer. So that's Article 8. 11 through 17, we are blissfully in agreement on. Let's fast forward to Article 18C3, and we took a dive at some language around this one. So what you'll see here is the agreements that, in principle, if we are requiring safety footwear for people who are in facilities or transportation, that they would be compensated, reimbursed for the purchase of such footwear. And so that's the language that you see there. If it's required by the district, then we'll pay for it, reimburse for up to 125 annual. Any questions?
We would like to know what is your guys' standing definition of require, like what would you require, OSHA requirements, licensing requirements, like just clarity on which require, what requirement we're looking at.
I would say, Kirsty, I appreciate that question. My example is the current, like in transportation, where we require steel-toed boots for mechanics who are working in that department. It's positions for which the district is coming back and saying, hey, this is best practice, best recommendations, and we are requiring that you wear steel-toed boots in these environments.
I think we're trying to see, like, thinking about the members that we are supporting is thinking about like our painters, thinking about people, our grounds crews that are out running the big lawn mowers and things, those with that kind of heavy machineries where they're out walking in all sorts of conditions, and or around those big blades I would want to go around. So just kind of the idea of spaces that, or like their painter's licenses sometimes will require something. So I guess just trying for our electricians, so just kind of making sure that we know the standard of requirement.
Yeah, and so Kirsty, really from our perspective, all of the above. If it's required by OSHA, if it's required by state law, if it's required by Beaverton, if it's required, then it applies. Because we may require things that are above and beyond the larger requirement out there.
Thank you. It's just always helpful for us to know the full intent, and as we learn things like add class pay, knowing our intention here at this time is cool. Thank you.
Alrighty, any other questions?
Not at this time. I think we need to go talk as a team, and we'll let you know when we have more questions.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We did put one Easter egg in Article 8L for dominant, but he didn't catch it yet. There's an extra period at the end of one of the sentences.
Get out of dominated.
Dominated, sorry. Either Easter egg.
And then you guys were the ones that actually numbered E in your first proposal.
That's true.
If you went to struck that out, C struck that out.
Got a keen eye for that.
See, no matter what, even if he misses it, you call the problem, he's gonna come back for you.
Yeah.
He's gonna be correct.
Good to see you too.
Better late to see you.
There you
Yes, please. Our team signs over, please.
Oh, yeah.
You want to try another new room just for fun?
I do, my team doesn't.
Sorry about the name.
We call them all kinds of words.
As
As I fall.
It really doesn't bother me, does it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Should have been 18 for.
Oh, my goodness.
This is Article 18. That should have been 18 is number 1.
You were smart, you were the big one, but we don't have to see the marks.
Good Dawn, do it.
Yes, no.
Technically, we don't have to give you a rhyme for those. All right, friends, I'm gonna go a little bit backwards with you. Resort 18, Article 18 first. So back on C3, we also tried to make a little bit of a boo-boo, where it says employees referred to in 8D1, that should be 18D1, that was just a mix-up on our part, so we apologize. We were looking again, we were also trying to get creative on a way to include the group that we were thinking of, and we realized that we'd already had it defined, a good hunk of them included, but especially for specific job roles to make sure people felt that their departments or their specifics were included, so we dropped just a reference to who we mentioned in D1. And we just felt we wanted to make sure that we had more people. We just took another step more language, and so that's what more an option we came up with. All right, and then Article 8, we just caught in 8E. We really wanted it to be number 1, 2, 3, 4, similar to how we had done it, but that was matching language from earlier on that you guys had presented, and I think it looked more uniform, it helps to make a little more sense, especially in that part of, I mean, we all know, the kitchen sink that is Article 8, again, really trying to clear that up. I think we all talked about trying to shorten this when we started, but we all realized that in clarifying a lot of it needed to be longer and a little bit drawn out, so we just really felt like that was necessary. And then in 8L, we just caught that we forgot to spell out, or put the number 4, somewhere where we spelled out 4.
Oh, for the hourly.
Yeah.
And so those are just some cleanups that we found. And then just with the mix of them getting a mixed copy, we think we covered everything else on the copy that we had. That is,
That should be about 9.
oh, okay. Yes, see, so there were, there's a few other dramatic changes just because we were trying to edit and fix it back to be matching. And by the time we were all doing it, but we should have gone back to the copy we were doing, but we were already in it and excited. So
Yes, working out classification should be L. We just didn't fix that, but, so there's just a few of those connections, but, yes, there's a few.
All right, thank you for these. I think the changes look good. I think we are in agreement, so well done, everyone.
Thank you for catching the editing.
They passed over any talks in logistics. So we can probably get this ratified by, definitely I can say by July 15th. I'm not sure how long it's going to take on your end. One thing that I'd like to suggest is that we agree that if we can get ratified by the 15th, that we will have the wages and benefits effective July 1st. I just don't want to get in a position where we're waiting for, both parties to ratify. If we can just expedite it and get it done. I know that that's something that is outstanding. The language, I believe, in healthcare says upon ratification by both parties. So.
And Rob, you said wages and benefits by July 1st. Did you mean by August 1st? Or did you mean retroactive?
I usually, it is not July 1st, July 1st is tomorrow. But I believe that's when the healthcare changes go through, correct?
Yeah, the new rates go into effect July 1. The language that we've agreed to around COLA is that it's retro to July 1, and then with health insurance, it's effective the month after ratification.
And approval.
And approval by the board, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so they would still have an increased rate for July.
Correct.
And that's, you're not willing to adjust that at all?
I'll refer back to the TA language that we have on that.
Yeah.
It's effective the month after board approval and ratification. And so that's what we've agreed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also, it's significant lift for just the mechanics of even getting there by August 1st.
Yeah, we in our last negotiation, we did do retro on insurance and learned from that is a considerable lift, which is why we engaged in that conversation early in this process to ideally have as little time as possible, knowing that it does come at a financial impact to our classified staff. So we appreciate the shared urgency to move us through this process as quickly as we could and being thorough. But that was the original intention when we made that proposal, was that we would provide a window of time for which the adjustments could be made to make the insurance payment effective.
We don't have a board meeting scheduled after July 14th, but we will discuss.
Yes, the next scheduled board meeting after that ratification date is August 12th, so that will be well in time to have that change made prior to the following month's paycheck. But yeah, ratification by July 15th and board approval in August. That would be effective in September, and if there were an additional board meeting in July, it would be effective in August.
We were ratified by more like the 14th.
Board is meeting on the 7th, and I think that's probably too tight for ratification to have occurred.
Special.
The board meeting, the board is holding a small special meeting on July 7th.
I thought you were just the 14th.
The August 12th is the next regular meeting.
I misunderstood what you were saying about for July 14th. That's right.
So Christy, you thought there was a board meeting on the 14th, is
I
that?
thought that's what she was just saying.
I
She just said July 14th, several times, so I was like, well, that's 20 days ago.
Yeah.
Couldn't they at least have the conversation there, whether we're still waiting until August 1st or not? What I was hearing was she was saying July 14th. So.
That's right, I was referring to what Robin said about being ratified by the 15th, there's not a board meeting at that time, sorry for the confusion.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to have 5 days, constitutionally, with the holiday, that's gonna put us at least till the 7th. And I just think it's unfortunate that, we've worked hard to get to this date, and now we're gonna have 2 months of increased rates. And, yeah,
Which for some of our people is gonna be over $700 out of their paychecks. That's just a lot.
I certainly hear you, and we're not dismissing that impact. That's the nature of the timeline that we're at right now with this, so I appreciate that we are at a point now where we can, begin the ratification and board approval process to make sure that that time hasn't extended beyond where we're ready looking at.
All right, well, we did it. We still didn't get back to the WTA.
Yes, well done,
Sign the
everyone.
documents, please.
Left the white copies in the other room.
So Chris, does the white copy have the right,
You have the 2.
does it have 18 and whatever that other piece was that you caught? Where you had a reference to 8D1 and it should be 18? Just,
Oh, no, we don't have those.
well, I guess we could write that in or whatever. Anyway, just want to make sure it's as close to accurate as possible.
So Kirsty, we can use your 8 and 18, and I'll go get the other 3.
Thank you, Chris.
Can you just give me a minute, please? I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. I can't remember out loud. I'm going to tell you all that, but I don't remember. This.
I said 3, I meant 4. Sorry, 11, 13, 14, 17. 8 and 18 are the sheets.
Okay.
That's an 18.
Oh, did you? Yeah, it's, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Now when it closes, like,
A celebratory.
So just looking at this, as we said, yes, we're great. You'd noted that you'd made some grammatical changes in the working out of classification paragraph. And I think a word that should be struck didn't.
There's a lot of cleanup that needs to happen, so if we need to clean that up, then I need to get co-sign it for the end of the, because this was just the worst copy and we were already working on it, so.
Okay, thank you. Here you go.
There was a PPA contract, there was a word that should be, then. And it was in that one too. That one was like 16 years, and that's what I took her stayed.
Thank you.
Lost a strikeout. That should have been.
I did highlight some of the numbers and things, but I realized something else that we talked about is that from the beginning, we also did make our agreement at the beginning that we would make those corrections from to the they, them, and the numericals. That was an agreement we made early on in the meeting, so, well, reason also we figured that out, just, there's probably still some that even all of us missed, even on the perfect copies that won't get caught as we prepare to print it and get it out. And by chance, Chris, do you have the other copies that we had to fix them last time? Yes, I do. I need them, and then I need a copy of those. I need the paper and.
I will go scan.
Awesome.
Casey?
Yay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody's time and commitment to this. It's a huge lift, so thank you all for your time and dedication to this. It felt mutually respectful. Hopefully that was everybody's feeling, and I just really appreciate all of you and the professionalism and the work that you do to every day, but in particular to this, to make this happen. So thank you.
Thank you guys, we appreciate it. Proud of us, we got this one done in a good amount of time. I'm just gonna put it on the record, I'm gonna remind you all again, that this is why it works to do it earlier, because the sooner we got finished. Starting in February was a smart move. I know it was hesitant with how busy the spring could be, but I think it was really beneficial to not go as long out of contract as we needed, so. Thank you, and thanks to all of you that wore blue, we love for it.
That's a good one.
we'll meet back, take a picture? Is that okay?
Sounds great.